We're going to pitch a tarp and cook up some victuals here on Trail Ready. That's what I'm talking about. Hello, and welcome to Trail Ready. Without a doubt, my favorite way to pitch a tarp is in the flying A configuration because of its ease of setup and ample interior space. Today I'm going to use an 8x10 sil nylon backpacking tarp to demonstrate how to set up with and without trekking poles. Okay, we start out by spreading our tarp out on the ground, and you're going to stake down the corner that's facing into the wind. That will be the back of your tarp. Once that's staked down, pick one of the two side corners and stake that down. Once you've done that, you go to the opposite corner, pull that tight, and then you're going to move it over about a foot and stake it down. We pull that tight, and then we move it over. Now the reason I've done that is so that when I pick up this front corner, the tarp has some slack in it. And I usually take my trekking pole and I set that at full extension. I like to get as much angle on this pitch as I can. And when you set it up at about somewhere around a 45-degree angle, and put your front guy line on. The reason I put that angle in there is at night, when this tarp sags, you'll be able to push up on that and it lifts the front. You don't even have to get out of your sleeping bag and you can retension your tarp. Lastly, I take my other pole, I place that inside. That's how we do the flying A with trekking poles. Obviously you can use more of the stakes. If it's really windy, you want to stake out more grommets. The more tie down points you use and the tighter you can get the tarp, the less it'll flap at night. That's the flying A with the trekking pole. So occasionally when I'm at home, I'll remember a meal that I enjoyed out on the trail and I'll think, wow, that would really hit the spot. If it's a prepackaged or freeze-dried meal, a lot of times, unless I'm what I call trail hungry, it doesn't wind up being quite as enjoyable as it was out in the woods. There's something about walking 10 or 15 miles over mountains and all that really changes your appetite. I think when I'm trail hungry, I could actually eat the bark off a tree and it would taste good. So recently I discovered a company that is making trail food that I'm really enjoying, and that's Hawk Vittles. I've tried about 10 different entrees that they produce, and by far my favorite has turned out to be the sweet Italian sausage with pasta. Don't get me wrong, they have a bunch of other great dishes like lasagna and I mean, you go down the list, but this is my favorite, and I want to see today if it tastes as good at home as it did out on a trail. After I bring some water to a boil, I'll be right back. To boil my water today, I'm using the Grand Weenie Pro paired up with a 640 milliliter Evernew Deep Series titanium cook pot. This is the same setup I used when I hike solo. And the reason I'm showing it to you is because of a problem I found, not with Hawk Vittles meals, but with their packaging. Normally I don't cook per se. I just like to boil water and pour it in a pouch or freezer bag and rehydrate a meal. I don't like being bothered with cleaning up cook pots and all that. So that being said, the one problem that I have found with these meals, as I'll show you, is when you cut the packaging open at the heat seal line, it doesn't leave a whole lot of room once you fill it with water to where you could fold it over and close it and put it in a cozy. This setup that I'm using here actually addresses that problem, as I'll show you. So as you can see, that thing is full. So what I do is I take this cook pot and I just put the bag right inside. Let me see if I can do this without getting burned. Ow! It's a lot easier out on the trail, it seems. Trail ready Hawk Vittles, take 3. Sorry about the break in the video. We had some technical difficulties. I was having trouble getting the bag actually to get in my cook pot without burning me. And that's the first time I've ever had that happen. Normally it goes right in. If you're going to cook in the pot, you know, it saves you all the trouble. But I would suggest that if you're a boil in a bag kind of guy like me, you might want to repackage it in a freezer bag. I think I will going forward. If the folks at Hawk Vittles are listening, it would be awesome if you could come up with a different packaging system for your meals that's a little more friendly for the freezer bag crowd. So I'm going to let this sit and rehydrate, and we'll be back in a few. All right, we're back. Something I've discovered about these Hawk Vittles meals, if you're rehydrating them rather than cooking them, is that you need to add an extra 5 minutes to the cook time so that they rehydrate properly. So now's the moment of truth. Oh man, it looks so good. Oh, that is so good. It's just as good as I remember it. Check out the folks at Hawk Vittles at hawkvittles.com. Look at their menu. I am sure you'll find something to your liking. I'm going to have some more. So you're thinking to yourself, I really like that flying A setup, but I don't carry hiking sticks. What now? Well, 90% of the time when I rig a tarp in the flying A configuration, I use a tree as my front support because it's fast, it's easy, and it's convenient. It basically sets up the same way as a flying A with trekking poles, with one major difference. That difference is I start by tying off to the tree first. Now you notice I have my line rigged to a corner of the tarp already. I do that before the trip. It just saves me a lot of time when I'm setting the tarp up. So I pick a point in the tree, somewhere about 6 feet off the ground, and I'm going to tie it off using some sort of hitch or knot that I can untie easily in the morning. Then I pull the tarp out, and I take the opposite corner and I stake it down while I tension the tarp. At that point, it's just a matter of staking down the other 2 corners. then you can either use a stick that you find, put a sock on top of it, and use it inside to lift the ridge line. Or if you have a tarp like this one that has lifters, load lifters on the outside, you can attach a line and guy it out either using sticks or the surrounding trees to raise the tarp up. Once you practice this at home and you become proficient with it, you can get this up in less than a minute. And if it's terribly rainy or just really bad weather, this is a fast, easy, and very dry pitch to put up. So that's it for our first episode of Trail Ready. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a real blast shooting it. In the future, we're going to bring you more tips, techniques, product reviews, and trip reports that I hope will further your enjoyment of the outdoors. Don't forget to practice the things that we've shown you today. Your better half and your neighbors already think you're crazy, so setting up a tarp in the backyard isn't going to make any difference, trust me. And don't forget, of all the paths you take in life, make sure some of them are dirt. We'll see you next time on Trail Ready. Bye-bye.